And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome London-based author Sandie Jones, currently joining us from Portugal, here to tell us all about her brand new red-hot, ooh la la book, The Guilt Trip. Sandie, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you, Sarah. It's good to be here. So The Guilt Trip is the story, a domestic suspense novel. It's the story of Jack and Rachel, Noah and Paige and Will, who are five friends who think they know everything there is to know about each other. And they're heading off to Portugal for Will's wedding. The newcomer to the group is Ali, who is his bride-to-be, and she is vivacious and outgoing, but even before they're on the plane, she's definitely rubbing people up the wrong way. And when our protagonist Rachel finds out something about Ali, the weekend kind of begins to unravel quite dramatically. Secrets spill, loyalties are certainly tested, betrayals abound, and it all culminates in a wedding reception that leaves us with one dead body and five guilty consciences.
Well, one dead body and five guilty consciences sounds like my kind of wedding, Sandie. I am RSVPing YES.
I wouldn't if I were you.
Yeah,
you might not come back, Sarah. You might not come back.
That sounds like a killer time, pun intended, a bloody good fun. I'll just keep going with the puns. But first, I can't wait to get into every single detail of this. But first, I just want to welcome everyone. Welcome friends who are watching on Facebook. Welcome friends who are watching on YouTube, on my channels, on Murder by the Book channels. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've been here before, you know how this works. And if you're new, oh my goodness, welcome. We're so delighted to have you. Here's how it works. Every Monday for hashtag Mystery Mondays, because Mondays can be murder, I give you two handpicked featured authors that I have chosen, and you get to ask them anything. So join in the conversation. Ask Sandie questions about her writing process, about The Guilt Trip, about her last book, The Other Woman, which was a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. Ask her any dirty details you'd like. This is your chance to talk to this fabulous author. So get the questions going in the comments. I'll get them right over to her. Margaret is saying a dead body at a wedding reception sounds very likely. Indeed, because weddings are sort of hives for family drama, for friend drama, and all of that stuff starts to come out. So Sandie, give us the backstory. Have you been to a dramatic wedding where there's been some drama?
Thankfully not that dramatic, but I think you're right, Sarah. There's always, even in the build-up to a wedding, even in the closest families, don't you think there's always drama even in the build-up, isn't there? There's all these underlying kind of tensions, and even, as I say, even in the best families, there's always going to be something that starts bubbling, and then by the time you get to the wedding, it's either all kind of exploded already, or it just feels like you're kind of walking on hot coals for the whole event, because you just don't know whether the best man's going to stand up and say something he shouldn't, whether the father of the bride's going to stand up, and, whether the bridesmaid's going to, you just don't know. And I think it's just such a great event, isn't it? Just where so much could kind of go wrong. So it seemed the perfect thing to kind of pop into The Guilt Trip.
Exactly. Because, as you said, weddings can be pressure cookers. They're supposed to be this blessed, delightful event. And of course they are. But there's also a little extra going on. So I love that you have chosen this as your setting to get to, and then layered on even more to get that going. Liz is saying, hi, Sarah, happy to join today. Liz, welcome back. Great to have you. So delighted to have you. Now, Sandie, let's get right into the writing process. How long did it take you to write this book, start to finish, soup to nuts, cradle to the grave, literally in this case?
Yes. This took a little bit longer than normal, only because of the situation. I think last year was just, it took me a little lot longer to kind of get into the swing of it, and without being too distracted by the news and, you know, my feeds. And it just,
Yes.
I think like all of us, we were struggling a little bit kind of this time last year to just work out what the hell was going on, and how we were going to get through it, really, weren't we? I mean, it's just so creativity wise, it wasn't flowing, I have to say. So it did take a little while. But once I got going, once I had a little bit of I say I had a plan. I never have a plan when I'm writing, unfortunately. But once I got into the swing of it and I started the first couple of chapters, got those under my belt, it probably took about 5 months, Sarah, I think, probably from start to finish. Once I got going, but
wait, so 5 months is long for you, Sandie? How long does it take you to write a regular book? Like 3 minutes? What are you talking about?
It normally takes me to deliver what I consider to be a strong first draft. It normally takes 3.5 to 4 months, I'd say, but that's pretty solid, you know, all day, every day, Sarah. That's, you know, that's not just tickling it. That's me being, when I can get myself in the right frame of mind, that's me being very, very disciplined and very strict and sitting at my desk for maybe, you know, 9-10 hours a day. So that's how I like to do it. I'm not very good at just kind of dipping in and then going out and doing something else and coming back again. And I think that's actually the difference between writing novels and writing newspaper articles and things like that, which is what I used to do, because that was much easier to just kind of drop and pick up again, you know, if I had something else going on. But I'm finding that writing a novel, I have to be, you know, the laundry kind of gets put aside, much to my husband's disdain. The laundry gets put aside, the house kind of becomes a little bit more, you know, unkempt and messy, and my life becomes slightly more disorganized than normal. But that's how I have to write, or that's the only way I can write, actually.
Ooh, this is fascinating. I love to peer in the windows. Perhaps I'm a bit of voyeur. I don't know, but I like to peer in the windows and see what someone's writing process is like, to see, this is the writer at work. How does she do it? I need to know, Sandie. Kathy is saying she's not quite finished yet, but this is such a fun read. Kathy, I told you. Kathy, tell us how much you're up to. Because I am 3/4 of the way through and I am here for it. So from the first moment when Sandie is describing what for me as a bit of a worrier, you get to the airport and the bride-to-be cannot find her passport, and part of me is like, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare, you know, where to get to the airport and not have my passport. But on the other hand, as someone who's very careful, I would do that double check, which Allie says she's done, but I'm not believing her.
Of course,
she's, spilling all her stuff out on the tiled floor, and she's looking for it, and the clock is ticking, and they're going to close the gates 40 minutes before, and my blood pressure is rising.
But that's just Allie, isn't it? That is Allie's character. She lives on drama, and drama follows her around. So every single thing, you know, throughout a day, every part of her day is just it's just really drama heavy. Everything follows her around, and she makes quite a big thing out of the smallest things.
Yes, indeed. And we all know someone like that.
We do. We all have someone like that.
Exactly. And I know that just makes me clench, because I'm like, you knew this was you know, you knew this was avoidable. Why? And everyone is thinking that. I mean, so you know, Rachel is sitting there and she's kind of looking knowingly at her husband. We knew something would come. We just didn't know the drama would start this soon. We all know someone like that. It's infuriating, isn't it? It's like they need attention or something, even in the worst possible way.
Yes.
Kathy saying she's at the halfway point. Yes, haven't we all been digging through the bag drama? Kathy, I know I have, but thankfully not with my passport. Although one time we did get to the airport and my husband did forget his, and I wanted to throttle him because I always get to the door and I do what I call my double check. Like, do I have my keys? Do I have my passport? Do I have my wallet? And I wanted to throttle him. So I said, you know what? You're taking a taxi back. If you're not back, I'm going without you. Like this, I run a tight ship, Sandie.
I love that. So you stayed at the airport and he had to come home and find it.
Indeed.
Right.
And I said,
did you make it in time?
He did, and I was almost sort of more mad that he made it because that didn't teach him anything, did it? Because what he learned is he can get away with it. Oh my goodness. So Sandie, the Parade has named this to their ultimate summer reading list. The books you'll want to read this sizzling season, and it is sizzling here. I'm in Boston. It's been 100 degrees. And we're getting a bit of a break now. You're in Portugal. So it is indeed a sizzling book. I loved that Parade called it that. Oh, great question from Susan. She says, how do you come up with your ideas? Do you overhear bits of conversation, wondering what if? Have you been to a family drama wedding? Do you have a dramatic friend? Sandie, give us the 411.
I think it is just, I think definitely you overhear bits and pieces. And I think this is obviously happening in my subconscious because I don't realize I'm doing it, but I definitely listen to people's conversations. I love to people watch. I really love to people watch. I could sit somewhere quite happily for a day and just watch people and just imagine what, or even if they're having a very normal conversation. And this is the way my mind's working nowadays, Sarah, and I'm not quite sure that I'm comfortable with it. But even if they're having the most normal conversation, I kind of can quite easily turn it into something very dark. And it seems to be a natural thing now, and I really don't want it to be. But it's just all about people's relationships. I'm very, very into the dynamics of a relationship, whether it be husband and wife, siblings, mother-in-law, obviously, and the other woman. I love ordinary people kind of having extraordinary things happen to them. So that's what I think that's my starting point. I like to have relatable characters that I can then just throw a bomb in there and just see how they and we would act, because any of these things could potentially happen to us. My books kind of could happen. It's not so far out of bounds that it's a complete impossibility. These things could happen if we find ourselves unlucky enough to be in that position. So that's my starting point. Is just ordinary people and have extraordinary things happen to them.
Very cool. So when you're overhearing a conversation, did you might hear like, oh, I'm going to my brother-in-law's wedding, and the fiance is a bit of a drama. She loves the drama, and then you think, ooh, yum yum yum.
And it's so easy to do, isn't it? It's so easy to imagine the worst case scenario. And that's kind of where I go to every time. I go to the worst case scenario. And then often I'm told by my editors, no, that's too far-fetched. You can't do that. Pull it back a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I go to first and then start kind of coming backwards on it. Ooh, it's good fun. It's great fun.
It sounds like it's great fun. Margaret is saying, so Sandie, do you have the murder mystery equivalent of saying in bed after everything you hear? Do you have that tradition in England? I don't know. In the UK?
No.
Okay.
No.
So in the US, we have, I believe, Margaret, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it started with fortune cookies, where you add the word in bed. You add the words in bed to the end of everything. So if you get a fortune cookie and it says you will soon have great fortune, you add the words in bed.
Okay. Right. Okay.
You are very well liked by your friends in bed or something like that. And it just sort of adds it. So Margaret's saying, do you have that, the murder mystery equivalent of, soon you will go to a wedding and someone will die?
I don't think we do over here. I don't think we have that kind of. No, I can't think of anything actually.
Give it a try.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right, Margaret. Everything in my head is the worst case scenario. So yeah, somebody, even if they're going to, visit their mother, then somebody in my head is going to end up dead. So yeah, I suppose it's that. Yeah, but I've never heard that. Never heard that.
It's quite fun. Give it a try next time you get a fortune cookie, or you overhear a conversation and you just add those last two words. Yours could be in bed. Yours could be they die. And then you just add it in. And Margaret's saying, yes, it started with fortune cookies just for a bit of comic fun. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, it's really quite good. Chelsea is saying, hello, everyone. Chelsea, welcome. Great to have you. Oh, Margaret's suggesting you could end instead of with in bed with an axe or with the knife. Oh, it could be the Clue equivalent with the knife in the library. I love that. Oh my gosh. So, Sandie, you live in London, in South London. You're currently in Portugal, where the books takes place.
Yes.
Why did you set it in Portugal? Do you just love it? Was it the right place? Did you know what? Why Portugal?
I do love it. Obviously, I class it very much as my second home. But I think, again, going back to this time last year, Sarah, where we weren't really able to go very far.
Yeah.
I think this may be even a little bit of a vanity project back then, because it was just kind of I
Mentally.
wanted to be here, yeah, and I wanted my family and my friends to be able to be going on a holiday and relax and get away from everything. So I think that's what started it. I think I wanted, and in fact, that came before anything else, really. I just knew I wanted a destination. And Portugal seems, certainly for me, I know it very well, and it ticks all the right boxes in terms of, there's glamorous parts here, there's the beauty of the ocean, there's the surfing, which also features in the book. So it was an easy pick and a no-brainer to have Portugal feature so heavily.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, and I just want to remind everyone that this is your time to ask Sandie any questions you want. So go ahead and get them. You can keep going then, that we're getting good ones, but anyone who else wants to join in the conversation, go ahead and type your questions right in whatever platform you're watching on. This is the beauty of StreamYard. I can read your questions if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook. This is really great. So just let me know. And if you love thrillers as much as I do, you want to continue the conversation, be sure to join my free Facebook group, Mystery and Thriller Mavens. I'm popping the link in the comments. So continue the conversation over there. You can make author requests. You can submit questions in advance. You can enter giveaways. Lots of fun things going on over there. Sandie, Pop Sugar also named your book one of the books to hit the beach or the couch with for the Summer Reads 2020. I love that, because some people are beach people, some people are couch people. I'm a person who goes both ways. So I love to read. Absolutely loved that. Now, you were also a journalist for 20 years. How has that impacted your writing? Do you feel like you write tighter, or does it help you work under deadline? Does it help you write very fast? How has that impacted your novel writing, if at all?
Yeah, I think all of that, actually, Sarah. I think it certainly has helped me reach deadlines, and I'm very used to reaching deadlines. I can work, as I just said, write very, very quickly.
Yeah.
What I have struggled with is, I think, because I was doing essentially I was doing sort of interviews and celebrity interviews, that kind of thing. So I was very, very restricted in what I was able to write in my articles, because obviously everything has to be word for word, and I'm not given any freedom to within an 800, 1,000 word article, I'm not given much freedom to kind of put my stamp on it, or kind of, show any part of me, because that's not the point of the piece. It's about them. And so I thought that because of that, I would find writing fiction and having that freedom and being able to use my imagination to the degree that you need to, I thought I'd actually find that very, very difficult. And I think, in all honesty, it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I put it off for so long, because I just thought I would be pretty rubbish at it. And it just would be just a bit of a step too far to go from being very, very regimented and restricted in what I write to all of a sudden being able to write whatever I liked.
Yes.
I loved it. And once I started it, I love the freedom that fiction gives me. I would struggle now, I think, to maybe go back. And I don't do very much journalism at all at the minute, mostly because of time. But I do think I would struggle to go back to writing verbatim articles, because I just feel so hemmed in all of a sudden. It'd be so weird.
Because you can't just go killing off characters.
Exactly. What, he's not going to die at the end of this? What's going on?
You have an annoying boss. You have to live with that person. You can't just kill them off and say you didn't know what happened, could you?
Exactly.
Now you have interviewed some amazing celebrities, including Justin Timberlake, Isla Fisher, Simon Cowell, Naomi Harris. Did you learn anything scandalous about them? Did anything?
You can't possibly expect me to answer that.
Well, okay, let's put it this way. Did any of those interviews inform later murder mysteries in the fiction realm?
Oh, there are a couple of celebrities that I could have.
Hold off.
I need to be careful.
Yeah.
There are a couple of celebrities I would quite happily have killed off in a very unpleasant, slow death. Yes, but I couldn't possibly name them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what was it? What was their annoying habit? Were they just late? Were they entitled? Did they make you change something? Did they retract what they said 50 times? What was the?
Yeah, I think probably my greatest bugbear is that it seemed to me pretty much across the board, both American and British celebrities, it seemed to me that the bigger they were in terms of a household name and everything else, the less fuss they actually made, and the more welcoming they were. You know, I've kind of been into a lot of people's homes, and they've made me cake and given me biscuits and tea and things like that, but which is wonderful, and that's the best part of the job. But then you have the other side of celebrity, where somebody very unknown or relatively unknown, maybe from a reality TV show or something like that, perhaps would turn up with a very big entourage and very demanding and like copy approval. And, you know, it seemed to me pretty much across the board that is the way we're going back maybe 5-10 years.
Yeah.
That's the way it kind of seemed to play out. And that was a large part of why I think I kind of fancy doing something new, because the world of celebrity has changed dramatically in the last 5 years. You know, they all have their own voices now on the internet, so they certainly don't need me to promote anything anymore, really, do they? And there's a different type of celebrity nowadays. You know, whether we like it or not, there's a very different type of celebrity.
Yeah, I would have thought it was the other way around. The bigger the person, the bigger the ego, and so fascinating that actually the bigger celebrities were more accommodating, even had tea and cake.
Yeah,
and
honestly, incredible. You know, just I mean, there was Tom Hanks, for example. He just walks into a room very, very quietly and very, very understated, and he bloody deserves to. Be shouting from the rooftops, I'm Tom Hanks, but he doesn't. And then you get somebody the next day who's, off a reality show, and they come in all whistles and drums banging. It's not pleasant.
Not pleasant, but quite fascinating. Very, very cool. Margaret is saying it sounds like the same insecurities accompanying new money also accompanying minor celebrities. That's an interesting take. Wow. So let me ask you this. So Sandie, your last book, The Other Woman, was a Reese Witherspoon book club pick, amazing reviews. Does that add to the pressure to writing this one? Were you like, oh, I must outdo myself? Was that motivating or was it crippling?
That was a couple of books ago, actually. So that was my first one, and The Guilt Trip is now my fourth. So the two in between, certainly my second one, which was The First Mistake, I really felt the pressure on that. And I also think because with the other woman, I wrote for myself, just again as a bit of a project, just to prove to myself that I could do it. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. So it was, there was no pressure at all, because I just didn't expect it to be going anywhere or doing anything. So I think, and then once obviously all the hype around it started happening, and obviously incredibly Reese picked it up as her book club pick, it certainly adds to the pressure. And the writing of The First Mistake was a bit of a car crash, I'll be honest. It was the first draft was just it was essentially a rewrite. So it definitely added to the pressure, but I think I'm getting into the swing of it now. I don't know whether my publishers would agree, but I think I'm getting used to it and getting into the swing of it, I think.
Well, your publishers and your readers will agree. Again, the reviews coming in so strong from both industry and from readers. Yeah. And one thing you're really known for is keeping that plot really moving quite quickly, hooking us and keeping it moving, and twists and being sort of twisty and compulsively readable. So what do you think from a craft perspective? How do you do that? I mean, how do you keep us up till 3 a.m. begging, Sandie, I wanted to go to bed 4 hours ago, but I've got to read just one more chapter. I mean, how do you, one thing I've noticed is you hone in sort of very cleverly, and just sort of as a by the way, these really deep dramas. Like we know that there is, there's a sort of warning bell about, there's something that Jack's already, annoyed, but we don't know why, with Allie, who's dramatic, and there's probably something there. Why? How do you do that? How do you create that?
I don't. There are. Yeah, I don't. I honestly don't know. To be honest, Sarah, I think what it feels to me when I'm writing a book, it feels like I'm reading a book, and that's genuinely how it feels. It feels like I'm reading a book, and it leaves. I leave it exactly where I would like it to be left if I was reading it. If that makes sense. Does that make any sense at all? So I don't. There is no structure to my writing at all. I wish there was, but there is none whatsoever. So I have no idea what each chapter is going to be, how it's going to end. It's certainly with the guilt trip, I had a different dead person at the end of it. So it's all up for grabs as I go, and it all happens as I write, because I cannot plan at all. I wish I could, but I can't. It just has to happen as I write. So yeah, and I just feel like I'm reading it when I'm writing it. It's very odd. It's a very odd feeling. But I think it's normal for authors. I don't know. Maybe I'm odd. I don't know, but that's how it feels that I'm reading it.
Oh, I love that. Liz is saying she would love to lunch with Tom Hanks. Absolutely. Tom Hanks, he's going to be like a really thoughtful, kind of like nice dad guy to have lunch with. I mean, but you know what, everybody, tell us which of the celebrities that Sandie's interviewed would you like to have lunch with, or which of her characters?
Yeah.
Which of her characters would you like to have lunch with?
I bet it's not Ali from The Guilt Trip or Penny from The Other Woman. I can't see many takers.
I might be a taker, and then I'd be like, listen, we need to get to the bottom of your issues. I'd run it like a therapy session. I'd be like, Allie, you have some problems and you're annoying everyone. Let's figure this out because for the betterment of the group. Sandie, for you, I'm also not a plotter. I wish I was. Jeffrey Deaver, when he was on the show, he spends 6 months and all he does is outline. And his outlines he shared maybe 180 pages. 180 pages. And then, yeah, he's amazing. He just was, for everyone watching, he just was named the Grand Master of Mystery by the Mystery Writers of America Association. So huge, huge honor there. And
get some more likes there.
Yeah, no problem. I wonder, I would love to be like Jeffrey. I'm not like him either. So Sandie, when you're writing, it was very mysterious there. We were wondering if you were building this. We thought you were building the atmosphere. So when you're writing and you're just following the story, but then, like you said, you changed the dead person in the book. Do you then have to back out of there and be like, oops, never mind. I'm not going to kill so-and-so. I'm going to kill this other. Yeah. So how does that work?
Yeah, I do find that I have to back up, because, as I say, with The Guilt Trip, there was a different dead person at the end of it. So obviously the 400 pages preceding that has to all change, because motivations change and characters' relationships change. So it probably isn't the best way to write, but I mean, I don't know how he does that. I just, and I see authors with kind of spreadsheets and Excel documents, and I'd love to do that, but my brain doesn't. Does it with you? Are you able to? No,
but that's how I end up where I am. Where now I've ended up with this huge book. I've written the length of 2 books, and I have to cut half of it because I couldn't get my arms around it.
Right.
And I was following the story. So I just was wondering, because as you said, if you kill off a character and then you're like, okay, that's not going to work for these following reasons. It's like dominoes, isn't it? So then you have to back up along that whole trail that you've so carefully planted.
Yes.
Completely destroyed it.
Yeah, and even with the one I'm writing now, which is my 5th book, I've delivered it to my publishers, and we've come back and we've had the discussions and everything else, and then we've kind of between us decided, okay, so what about if it wasn't based then? What about if we moved the location somewhere else? And we've had all these kind of conversations, but it honestly is, and I thought, yes, I'm going to make this work. I've got a good idea. This is, this could really go very well, but it's on every page, every single page from page one has something's got to change because it's just not in the same place anymore, and it's and I think maybe for me, if I was to plot, that would probably save me a lot of time, I think. But yeah, I just think you either are a plotter or you're not, and I don't know. I've not met any author actually that can change what they are naturally. I don't know. Have you? I don't. No. I think it's either the way you work or not, isn't it? It's
you can't change how your brain works.
No.
And how you envision the story and how it comes out of you, flows out of your brain and through your arm, out of your fingertips and onto the page. Oh my gosh. Kathy's saying she'd love to have lunch with Alice from The First Mistake. As a widow, she relates to her.
Okay.
Margaret is saying, the good question. What is your writerly reward when you meet a big or small goal? M&Ms, wine, pillowcases, spa day. Yeah. What? I love that question.
Chocolate biscuits for sure.
Chocolate biscuits. Okay.
Chocolate biscuits. Marks and Spencer's in England have the best chocolate Viennese sandwich biscuits that I always say at the end of, I try to do 2,000 words on a good day. I try to do 2,000 words. So I always reward myself with, or say I'm going to reward myself with a chocolate biscuit at the end of 2,000 words, but I will often eat the whole packet. And then I dunk it obviously in the tea, and it just goes on and on. So I'm often a packet down at the end of every 2,000 words. That's my treat.
And if you don't hit the 2,000 words, do you still get the biscuit or no?
Yeah. Funnily enough, I do.
Okay. So amazingly, you do get that reward. I love that. Margaret's saying the dark chocolate Chevaliers are her favorite. Margaret also used to live in England. Marks and Spencer's dark chocolate Chevaliers are her favorite. And it sounds like a divine cycle, Sandie. I totally agree. Oh my gosh, I love that. All right, we have 3 minutes left with Sandie. Any last questions? Get them going in the comments. Debbie's saying the perfect reward, anything chocolate, dark is best. Debbie, I totally agree.
No.
Dark chocolate.
No, what? No, what is that about?
Because it's so dark and delicious and it really tastes chocolatey instead of just sugary.
No, but it's bitter and it leaves a really nasty aftertaste. No, it's milk chocolate all the way. I'd rather go without. If it has to be dark, I'd rather go without.
Wow, you'd rather go without than this is fascinating. Okay, so only milk chocolate for you. Okay,
yes.
I'm wondering if I'm Debbie and I are the only ones who like dark chocolate. I mean, are we the weird ones, or are the milk chocolate people the weird ones? And then there's the white chocolate people, and that's really just sugar.
It is, yes.
Wow. So milk chocolate or bust.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Huh. Okay. I don't know. Debbie is saying, wow. Debbie, I'm totally agreeing. Margaret is saying team dark. Guys, what do you guys, what's everyone else think? Let us know in the comments. Sandie, what is your best advice as both a journalist and an incredibly accomplished novelist? What is your best advice for writers?
I think it's something I should have followed probably many years ago. Is just to start. I think just start writing something, because I think a lot of us aspiring novelists and aspiring writers just continually put it off because the time's not right, or they haven't got the time right now. When the children are grown up, they're going to do it. When and it's like everything, the thought of it is a lot more daunting than just getting on and doing it. And I wish I'd just started, because you're not gonna know, are you? And you've just got to give it a try. I was very much one of these people that would look at the New York Times bestseller list and go, oh wow, I wish it was me, that would be amazing. But I'd not put pen to paper. So how could it ever have been me if you've not put something into the ring? So yeah, you've got to just, however much time you've got, just set it aside, even if it's just for half an hour. Just if it's in you and in your heart and it's something that you've got to do, then just start writing and see where it takes you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And how did you gather the courage to start to do that?
I think it was a combination of what I said earlier about journalism not being quite the same world
Okay.
as it was when I went into it. And also for me, as I say, I did it very secretively. I did it all without even telling my husband and children. And I think that also helped enormously with just taking the pressure off myself, really. I think when you tell people you're writing a book, I think people go, oh, how's the book going? Got it published yet? And I didn't ever think it was going to get that far. So I just didn't want that pressure. So I think that's also maybe something worth considering, is just don't put yourself under pressure, and maybe just keep it to yourself for a while, just to see how it goes. I think that's probably a good piece of advice as well, actually.
I love that. And I totally agree, because when it's in that nascent bud stage, that tiny little vulnerable bud, and it takes so much courage just to start. You're so vulnerable to feedback that if someone says, if you do share your idea and someone says, oh, I don't think that's very good, or that doesn't sound good to me, or that sounds stupid,
Exactly.
you're so crushed. It's
yes, and it's finished before it's even started, isn't it? And so I think just get on and do it quietly and stealthily, and see where you go.
I love that. Debbie, great question. She wants to know, is it ever too late to start age-wise?
No. I think it probably only gets better, Debbie, to be honest. I think you've got more, hopefully a later part of your life, you've got more time, maybe not so much energy perhaps, but you've got more time. And I think also, I say that I wish I'd done it a lot earlier, but maybe, this wouldn't have happened if I'd done it earlier. I just think there is a right time for everything. And age, certainly with writing, age is of no consequence at all. It should never hold you back.
Yes.
Ever.
And almost, I would say, life experience enriches your understanding of character motivation, of interpersonal dynamics, of drama, of perspective. That all is
Absolutely.
all of that is enriching you and enriching your story, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely couldn't have written the books I'm writing, when I was 30. There's absolutely no chance. So again, if I'd done it then and failed miserably, then that would have been the end of it. So
exactly.
Yeah, no, goodness, Debbie, no, get going.
Yay, get going, Debbie, and report back to us. Oh, Debbie, maybe when your book comes out, I'll host you. I'll host you, Debbie. Okay, Margaret would like to know I love this. What about a favorite literary London spot? Is it a gallery? Is it a famous author's home you visited? Or is it just a vista that you like to feast your eyes upon?
Oh, I don't know. We've got some fabulous London parks, I think, that are surrounded with history. I think, Kensington Palace and all along there, I think, are just great places but saying that, as much as I love going there and I'm inspired by so many places in London, just the architecture, the buildings, everything, I unfortunately cannot write out and about. I can't write in London. I can't write in a cafe, which again is something I'd love to do, but I just have to go out, gather all my inspiration and all my ideas, and then listening to people's conversations and killing them all off before they get home on the train. Yeah, and then I have to go home myself, and then I have to write there, which and in silence as well, which I just I would love to be able to write anywhere with music, but it doesn't happen for me. So yeah, I go into London, gather everything up, and go back home again.
And you shared that you sit at your desk 9 to 10 hours and you write in these giant spurts, these marathon lengths, and that's how you're able to produce a book in 3.5, 4, 5 months. Now, do you let yourself get up to get a snack, or only the biscuit, or lunch, or breakfast, or dinner, or no, you do not rest until you get the biscuits at the end of the day for your 2,000 words?
Probably. I could probably skip lunch if I'm really into it. I will. I don't even realize it. I'm not even aware of the time, which is great. So I will probably go from straight through to biscuit time before dinner. That's probably what I do. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Margaret is saying, like a magpie. Absolutely. Liz is saying, great, simple advice. Just do it, as my dad would say. Absolutely. Debbie saying, do you take notes when you're out people watching and listening to them? Yeah. Do you, or
Yes.
you're just absorbing it mentally?
Yes, no, I do take notes, and yeah, and I'll put sort of maybe voice notes into my phone of things that kind of trigger me off or sort of make me, yeah, have little kind of odd dark thoughts. I'll put into a voice note on my phone. Wouldn't like anyone to listen to them now because I'd be in very big trouble.
Oh my gosh, I could just picture Sandie, sort of at the hair salon or in anything, and someone says, "Oh, I'm going to a wedding this month," and Sandie's leaning into a recorder. Wedding, kill someone. The bride is annoying.
Get the knife. Get the knife.
Get the knife. Get the knife. And the bride is looking over like, "Are you okay?" And Sandie's like, "Keep going." Keep going. I am
absolutely. Please
oh my
don't.
God. Julie Ann would like to know, what else gives you inspiration? Is it traveling? I mean, does anything else and give you inspiration, Sandie?
Yes, I think films actually give me a lot of inspiration. I will often watch a film, and I would take it naturally again in my head. I will take it completely a different way. So I'll have a start point in a film, and I'll thoroughly enjoy the film. But in my head, I'm thinking, but it would have been better if he did this and then she did that. And so I kind of, yeah, I do get quite inspired by films actually. And just the whole idea of something like recently, Your Honor. We had Your Honor. Have you watched that, Sarah? Have you not seen that? An
No,
American
I haven't
series on
seen that
Sky
yet.
Atlantic.
No.
It's brilliant, an absolutely brilliant piece of drama, but it all essentially turns on the fact that the main character did not tell the truth from the very outset. All he had to do was tell the truth, and he didn't. And then it just became one lie after another, just tiny little lies that built until his whole life imploded around him. And it's things like that I just think, okay, so what if, and then off I go. So yeah, it's things like that just start a little thread in my mind, and then I kind of go off on a tangent sometimes.
I love that. Zia Harmon Karimi saying hi. Hello.
Hi.
Debbie saying, good one. If you could choose any author, living or dead, to have a meal with, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's tough.
That is tough. Good one, Debbie.
That is
Debbie,
tough.
maybe we're going to give you material for your book here, Debbie.
I mean, it's funny because I'm meeting people and certainly speaking to people and meeting people that now authors that I've had on a pedestal for, some time. And now that I'm kind of talking to them in a, as a contemporary, it's a very, very odd feeling. I mean, certainly my favorite author at the moment is Claire McIntosh.
Hostage.
Yes. And I've been following her ever since her first book came out. And again, we've kind of got talking recently, and we're kind of doing a few things together. So yeah, that's really tricky. Virginia Andrews, maybe. I remember reading her when I was maybe 16, maybe even earlier. And she probably was my starting point for just loving thrillers and being really spooked out by fiction. So she'd probably be somebody that I'd be very interested to talk to as well, actually.
Oh, I love that. Well, I see we are over time, but there's been so many great questions and everyone's been just gobbling up this conversation as I have been. But I just want to remind everyone, grab your copy of Sandie's book today. Get the Guilt Trip, because you're going to be glad you did. I just popped the link in the comments. Grab it from Murder by the Book today, my favorite independent bookstore, one of 3 mystery-themed dedicated bookstores in the country, one of the oldest and most respected, and it's woman-owned. So grab your copy of The Guilt Trip today. and you will join us on the sunny shores of Portugal for a killer good time at this wedding, and you will be sucked into the drama as I am. And then I just want to remind everyone to continue the conversation. Let us know what you think about the book. Let us know what you're reading. We like to nerd out here, all about mysteries, obviously our favorite genre. But to continue the conversation, come join me in my Facebook group. And I'm going to pop the link in the comments there as well. All are welcome, free and open to all. Sandie, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, of your evening, because it's evening already in Portugal, to speak with us today. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you, such a pleasure to host you. Loving this book and can't wait to have you back. Oh, tell us really quickly about book number 5. That's what I meant to ask.
Oh, another domestic suspense about Naomi, who is a psychotherapist whose client goes missing, and she knows she's telling the truth, but all the evidence says that she's lying. So it's about following her journey to try and just take herself away from, having the finger pointed at her as the prime suspect.
Ooh, Naomi, a therapist, has a client disappear, and people are starting to look at her. Is that forthcoming from St. Martin's as well?
It is, yes. This time next year it'll be, yes.
Okay, Sandie, you have to come back and talk to us. I'm booking you now.
I will.
You have to come back because we want to know how Naomi, a therapist, is going to end up. I'm already hooked. I love this. Thank you. Quick question from Debbie. Did that require research? Yeah, into the world of therapy?
Yes, which is probably actually out of all of the novels so far, this has probably required the most, yes. Because there's all kinds of terms in psychology, and there's all sorts of things that I've had to kind of teach myself, and language as well that she would use, and so I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it.
Ooh, that sounds fabulous. All right, everybody. Sandie, the lovely, lovely Sandie Jones is coming back to tell us about Naomi the Therapist.
I will.
When the book comes out next year, maybe she'll be in London. Maybe she'll be in Portugal. We'll play a Where in the World is Sandie Jones now. We don't know. She could pop up anywhere, but we know where she'll be next year, which is right here on Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Have a great day, y'all. And I will see you at 8 p.m. tonight with Nev March for Murder in Old Bombay. Pack your bags. Make your chai. We're going to India next. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you at 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern, 7 Central. Bye.